Hello YouTube and welcome back to another video on the main channel, and today we're back with another reaction. We're doing a sequel reaction because today we are doing part 2 of the Furby video, More of Your Haunting Stories by Matt Rose. Now, the original Furby video did really well, so I thought, you know what, let's give it another go, shall we? Because his video got 2.6 million views in 2 weeks, the first video. So this video came out 3 years ago. This one's on 4.1 million views. So let's see what more scary Furby stories we have out there for the world to see. So let's get on into this and let's go creepy these Furbies can be.
I am utterly overwhelmed at the response to that bloody Furby video of mine, not to mention all the fan art that it's prompted.
Oh god.
It's also brought up
Creepy
so many
Furbies.
incredible stories from yourselves that of course we have a part 2. We'll be looking at all manner of corrupted toys in this one,
Oh,
but we
God.
will just start by looking quickly again at our old friends, the Furbies. One
course.
time in the middle of the night I woke up to mine saying, "Hide! Hide!" over and over. My mum hates Furbies. She was babysitting these kids who had a Furby once. She went to read them a story and the Furby yelled, "Boring!" My Furby walked into a washing machine and one of its eyes popped out. Now it just constantly says hungry every 4 seconds.
Creepy.
Never had one myself, but a friend of mine did, and his was able to pick up radio stations briefly. One time it caught a traffic alert on a music station and just repeated, "Buck up," in a super deep voice for the rest of the day. I had a
Wow.
Furby once. It disappeared from my room one day and I've never seen it again. I live in constant fear. I had a Furby that randomly died one night while my family was travelling, letting out a headache-inducing squeal for several minutes before we were able to pull out the batteries. After that, the Furby would only turn on randomly and speak in a broken, low voice. It was like Goofy talking through a cheese grater.
These stories don't get better. They're freaky. There's got to be something in them because they break and they still like start talking and start being creepy. Toy Story is real. It has to be. Has to be,
Goofy
please.
talking through a cheese grater? That is an astonishing analogy. Obviously, unfortunately, we've got no way of actually knowing what that would sound like.
Oh, here we go.
Gosh, okay, good.
I'll never forget that week that my Furby woke up every night for 12 days at exactly 2 in the morning and would sing like a maniac because the battery compartment eroded. I remember when
Why
my
they always go
Furby
wrong at
started
night?
going rogue, the only way to get it to switch back personalities again was to put it in a room and only play jazz music. Me and my friend were
Like
freaking
jazz?
out over my Furby Connect because its voice was glitching out for some reason. Then one of us yelled, "You're a demon!" at it. And the second the sentence ended, it just turned off. Black eyes and everything. My
Wow.
Furby hasn't ever done anything weird. She's sat on my windowsill for years and hasn't made a sound. That's still weird. Okay, so I still have this Furby, and one of the personalities it could have was a ninja. Me and my
Okay.
parents tried for hours to get it to change, but when it did change, it changed to the clown. As for the awful part, over the last few years, it has triggered the awakening, as we call it. Last time it was in the middle of a party, and it terrified the guests, its drunken voice screaming about eggs and bacon. I had a Furby as a kid, claimed its name was Melon. One day when we were packing up to
Right.
move house, I found my Furby. It proceeded to chant pancakes over and over until the batteries were taken out.
Pancakes, 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 pancakes. I've never had a Furby. Don't really want
My
one
younger
now.
sister used to have a How to Train Your Dragon toy that was similar to a Furby. Almost every night at any time between 2 AM and 6 AM it would begin to loudly and very deeply grunt, wheeze and heavily breath for up to 15 minutes at a time.
Wow.
I had this weird ass toy called a booba when I was a kid.
booba.
He was orange and was just like a Furby if furries were scarier and from the darkest corner of hell. One
Okay.
day its batteries died but was still kind of juiced, so he malfunctioned and wouldn't turn off. So occasionally, whether I was playing in my room during the day or trying to sleep at night, I would hear this creepy ass terrifying radio crackling on and off demon voice winding down slowly while singing booba. Bloody
not
hell.
terrifying
Weird
as well.
question, but I wonder if this person ever actually shat themselves when this was happening. Before anyone asks, yes, I did shit myself from time to time when it went off. I used to have a teddy bear called Pudding as a baby that would sing happy birthday to you every time you pushed his belly.
Okay.
Recently found him in a cupboard, pushed his belly, sounded like he was being waterboarded. Had this kookaburra stuffed animal with the most nightmarish voice box. It would always end up down the side of my bed underneath a bunch of other toys. So in the middle of the night I'd turn in my bed and squish the pile of toys, and sometimes that damn kookaburra would go off for the night and all I'd hear is a wee 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 coming from under my bed. I used to have this big minion that spoke when you squeezed it, and then in the middle of the night I just heard banana from my bedside drawer. I used to have a Build-A-Bear, and those voice chips get weird when the batteries are running.
I'm sorry for pausing it so much, but the logic of this story is don't buy toys with voice boxes in, because they're creepy as hell. So please don't. If you're watching this, don't buy any. They're always creepy.
Hello. I accidentally stood on one and it called me a whore. The original voice was an owl hooting, but I guess that sounds weird when slow and cut off. I had the mistake of falling asleep with a Zuzu pet back in the day and it suddenly turned on and ripped some of my hair off. I had a toy that was a phone. You push buttons and it says stuff. Anyway, I pressed 3 and it was supposed to say I love you, but it was distorted. I distinctly remember being scared of the toy. My brother, who was 4 years older than me, pinned me down and would hold the toy phone up to my ear and spam press 3 until I cried. I remember his argument was, but she loves you. To this day, I cringe hearing I love you in a high-pitched, almost grandma-like way. We bought one of those toy lightsabers that would let you make a custom sound go off whenever you swang it. And some kid in the store had previously yelled fuck into it, and we weren't able to change the custom sound for some damn reason. So when my nephew received it as a birthday present and tried it out, he was certainly surprised.
Right, story time. That story has, so story time in Norwich, one Christmas. Me and H were Christmas shopping. And then we saw this weird toy in Primark where you could customize it to say whatever you like if you press the button. Just like that lightsaber, right? It was this weird flower that danced, and every time, and you could program it to like say certain things. So me and H programmed it to say sub to Devious Ditto in Primark, and just press the button and it would go sub to Devious Ditto like this, like a weird flower thing. And we just thought it was funny at the time, but I don't know if anyone pressed it and like you know, experienced that. I don't know, but it happened. I don't know the outcomes of this, but it just happened, and I thought it was funny at the time. The more you know.
Fuck! 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 One time my Bop It started playing itself. I think it got a score of 20 or 30, and it still haunts me to this day. One time I shoved a towel dinosaur headfirst in my rear. One time during a thunderstorm...
Wait, we can't just move on from that one. He shoved a toy dinosaur's head up his arse. We can't just move out from that, Matt. I'm sorry.
Every electric toy in the room lit up and made sound all at once due to the lightning. One time, when my sister and I were kids, we were playing with my Penelope the Talking Dragon toy that was from a Barbie movie. One day, late at night in our kitchen, we were playing with it, and it always had this cheery female voice when you pushed its stomach, which has a button that activated its voice lines. Out of nowhere, without the button being pressed, it said in a deep, slow, manly voice, "You're so beautiful," which wasn't one of its voice lines. It scared the heck out of me and my sister, and I still have it to this day, about 19 or so years later, and it has never said that again. My sister used to have a Toy Story doll that would speak when you'd pull the string on the back, though after a few years, it had stopped saying almost all of its lines. All but one, a very distorted yee-haw that would last anywhere between 2 seconds and half an hour. Wow. I had a Woody toy as well. A decade later, we found it, and he just started screaming. He wouldn't stop until we bashed his head on wood. I don't have a Furby, but I had a Carly doll for my Carly. However, the voice box broke, and all Carly ever did was moan in pleasure every time I pressed the button on her chest. Nothing, oh yeah,
Poor Carly.
Rose here. I'm just giving my personal apologies if you're watching this video and someone just walked in at that exact moment. I was a spoiled kid, and so one year for Christmas I got a Fur Real Friends butterscotch. However, during its final days, the material on the horse's face ripped. Oh, no. I watched the skin and fur of the horse fall off. It didn't stop there though, it kept moving its head from side to side like normal. You could hear the whirs from the machine and the disfigured gnawing sounds it made. I had a robot dog called Biscuit, whilst the size of a golden retriever, and during his later days, he began to turn on all by himself. So sometimes I'd randomly wake up in the middle of the night to Biscuit barking and my dog barking back because she had no fucking clue why he was barking and why he was on her side. I had one of those fish things that ran out of batteries. Well, one day it decided to work again. Off and no batteries, and for a while every time we went downstairs we heard it. I could be making this up, but I think one time we threw it away and it appeared back in the basement. Had this little mini farm set that could make animal noises. For some reason one day it just broke and kept making distorted sounds randomly. It sounds fine at first, but you don't know how scary it was to hear the sound of a corrupted cow going, ooh. at 2 in the morning. My siblings had this
Why are they
toy and
always
it
at
was
night?
a cat piano, but you can make it say words and record things. Somebody pushed the button too hard and it got stuck. Every time that my siblings would play with it, they'd turn on, it'll play its little music thing and it would automatically start screaming. It was my screams that were playing. The only real memory I have of a toy doing weird stuff is when I was very little and there was this educational toy I had in the closet which I'd forgotten about. One time in the middle of the night I suddenly hear, what letter makes the sound? My grandma had a pen that played Homer Simpson voice lines when you pressed a button. It worked for about 5 years, but after a while when you pressed the button it just went My little cousin had one of those talking Elmo things. When he was like 3 or so, he somehow managed to escape his crib. When his mum asked him how, he responded, Elmo helped me, which was immediately followed by the Elmo giggling and saying, time to play with Elmo. Wasn't mine, but one of my friends' Tickle Me Elmo toy went off at 2 a.m. in the morning, where it just went off and played a song. He cried, and I think he pissed himself. I once had a robotic Elmo doll that would kick its leg up and do the roly-poly. One night it somehow got activated and started to do the roly-poly, but never said any of the voice lines. I was probably around 4 at the time, and this scared the living hell out of me. So naturally, I bolted to my parents' room crying for help. At the time, I didn't realise it, but they were embracing in the act of love as I walked in on them.
Aww.
My 7th grade math teacher had a Tickle Me Elmo on a shelf in his classroom. It was about 15 years old, I think. It hadn't worked for years, and he thought the batteries were dead as he hadn't replaced them for so long. And then it just randomly moved a little and let out that awful, nightmarish Elmo laugh. And after that, the head was positioned perfectly so that it was staring straight at me, deep into my soul, and it haunted me for the rest of the school year. We'll end this video with one final Furby story.
Okay.
This one's quite a poignant one. I had one of the reboot Furbies. A few months or so ago, my friend came over and we were playing with it, named it Gluten. The batteries or something were running out because Gluten would talk with a glitched gargle, and my friend kept torturing it by shaking it around and pulling its tail, making it puke until it died.
Wow.
I tried replacing the batteries, but it still won't turn on. Maybe the true monsters were us all along.
Now we get
The ghost who one time I shoved a toy dicer up my ass. Right. What we've learned from this is that Furbies are terrifying. If your toy has a voice box, it's terrifying. So, logic of this story is, don't buy any toys which require a voice box, because they will go wrong and they'll be creepy as sin. But yeah, never had a Furby. Never had. I don't think I remember having a toy that went creepy like that, to my knowledge. But if you have chat, comment section, let me know down in the comment section. But if you have enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know if there's any videos you want me to react to. Let me know down in the comments. That would be much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.